All right, in this tour, I'm just going to go over the syllabus with you. So you'll come into the home page as usual. Just go over here to syllabus. And at the very top, you see downloadable syllabus. I expect you to download the syllabus. This way, there's no questions. You'll know what's due when, even if your internet goes out, even if Canvas goes down, you'll still know what's due when. You'll still have my email address. You'll have all of that. So if something happens, you'll have all the information you need. So at the top of the syllabus, you'll see just the same information that you see on the home page about email addresses, office hours, all of that. You scroll down. I'm not going to read all of this. You can read it. Well, you're expected to read it. So a couple of things I want to point out. Yes, the class does fulfill an humanities requirement for intellectual explorations. Required course materials, you need to download the second edition of the book. This book is Taboo. You can get that by going over here to Bookshelf, and I have a separate tour for how to do that exactly. Course policy, I want to go over this just a little bit. All students are expected to maintain professional behavior in the classroom setting. This is especially important with an online course. I think you're all aware now that people aren't as polite as they would be in person when they're operating online. There's this feeling of anonymity that licenses people to behave poorly. So be careful about that. Think about things before you post them. Think about, whether you would say this to somebody's face or not. And then on top of that, remember, we're studying taboo words, which are already fraught. And so you want to be conscious of other people's feelings in this class. All right, moving on from that, let's talk about grading. All right, so grading is divided by fours. So there are quizzes. The quizzes, every module has at least one quiz. Most modules are 2-week modules, so you can do the math on that. We've got 2 exams. Each exam is worth 25% of your grade. And then there's class participation. So class participation primarily consists of participating in these online discussions that we've got. So as far as I'm concerned, there's really no excuse for not getting full credit in class participation. If you don't get full credit for that, that means that you just weren't doing your homework. There will be no deadline extensions, except, of course, in cases that rise to the level of an emergency. I'll be the determiner of whether it actually rises to the level of an emergency. You have to give me enough context to let me know what's going on. Try to do it as quickly as you can when you know that you are going to or have missed a deadline. Contact me, and we'll try to work it out. In some cases with exams, I might give you an extra couple of days with a penalty. So as I say, late exams may be accepted at my discretion, but up to 10% of the grade will be deducted for each day it's late. A few other things I should say. I'm not doing this in order. I get students who request incompletes. Incompletes are reserved for very specific cases. It's generally where the student has finished at least 80% of the course work. It's generally saved for those situations where a student has gone through the semester, done everything, and then at the end of the semester, something happens, an emergency, they get really sick, whatever it is, and they just can't finish those last couple of assignments, especially the final exam. In that case, I'll grant an incomplete, and we'll write up a contract to decide when you will hand in the remaining assignments. The other thing I do want to note is plagiarism will not be tolerated in any way. I do use Turnitin. There's just really no excuse for using other people's work. I do want you to note that on the exams, I don't want you talking about the exam with other students, past or present, so don't talk to your friends who've taken the class before. I don't want them looking at your paper, and I don't want you looking at other people's paper, again, past or present. That's just against the rules for the class. If you do use outside sources and you're encouraged to do so, just make sure that you cite them. It's as simple as that. Don't plagiarize. Another thing that we need to address these days is AI. So if you use an AI like ChatGPT, you need to acknowledge that. You need to cite that as a source in producing it. I don't recommend having a ChatGPT write your paper for you. I've tested it and it does a passable job, but you're not going to get a good grade on those exams. If you use it, you'll probably get somewhere around a low C or high D if you use it exclusively. And if I catch you using it and you haven't cited it, then you're going to get a failing grade. Okay, all of that aside, let's move on to the next one, extra credit. You have one and only one opportunity for extra credit, and that's to participate in an experiment or up to two experiments in the speech acquisition lab. So for up to 2 extra credit points on your total grade, you can participate in these experiments and get extra credit. All right, posses, let me explain this a little bit. You are divided into posses of about 20 students. The idea of this is that this class should feel like a small class to you. So a lot of what we're doing is discussions, and discussions just don't work very well when you've got 200 people trying to contribute. So we reduce it to 20. That's a pretty manageable number to have a real conversation on these online discussions. So for you, I really hope this feels like a small class. It should. For me and for the TAs, it feels like a really large class. So just be aware that a lot of the learning that you're going to be doing in this class is going to come from your peers. So I really want you to collaborate with them because it's going to help you if you help your posse members. I've gone over this before, but just remember, the class is organized around modules. Most of them are 2-week modules. There will be discussions, there'll be content videos, there will be quizzes in every module. As I said before, the recommended way to approach this is begin at the top of the module and work your way down to the bottom of each module. Make sure that you're viewing all of the content videos, make sure that you're participating in all the discussions and doing the quizzes and so on. And let me reemphasize, this class is designed to be taken through modules. Every semester I have students who try to use the alerts that they get, or they try to use the calendar. You're going to miss so much of the course if you do that. You're going to miss all the content videos. You're going to miss assignments. Take it through modules. Next one is exams. We have 2 essay exams. The first one is 2 pages long. I want to emphasize that's 2 pages of text. You can have as many pages as you want of examples, data, references, diagrams, anything like that that you want to have in addition to the 2 pages of text. That's all free. So the idea is that you really can't answer the question well in 2 pages of text. You need to refer to data and examples and so on. So this is to encourage you to get in the practice of using examples to illustrate your points, to use data to back up your points, and so on. The second exam builds on the first exam. I like to think of the first exam as being a rough draft for the second exam. The second exam is 4 pages long rather than 2 pages long because we've covered twice the amount of information by the time that you get to the second exam rather. But otherwise, it's the same ideas that you're going to be tackling. Class participation, again, that's 25% of your grade. That's contributing to discussions within your posse. This is based on effort. So as long as you put in a reasonable effort on these discussions, you will get full credit for them. Quizzes, each module ends with a quiz. There are a couple of extra quizzes besides those, but for the most part, it's going to end with a quiz. We're very strict on the deadline for quizzes. Get them in on time. Again, I don't really see any reason that you shouldn't get full credit for the quizzes. As long as you're staying on task and paying attention to deadlines, you're going to do fine. You are given 2 opportunities to pass quizzes. So, if you don't do well on the first try it again. On the syllabus quiz and the mention quiz, you can do those as many times as you want. So on those, definitely you should be able to get full credit for those. I do need to say this, that we do have a commitment to diversity and inclusion. Our classrooms provide opportunities to embrace diversity and promote equity. As educators, we are committed to engaging all students in higher education. This commitment requires that we are willing to listen, learn, and change, that our classrooms challenge assumptions, and that all members of our community are responsible for creating and maintaining a safe space for learning and growth. Respectful debate and civil disagreement are encouraged and expected. Mocking, belittling, and bullying will not be tolerated, obviously. Okay, but this goes both ways. So if there's something that bothers you about the material in this class, please come to me. I've had students do this in the past. They didn't like something about how I'd phrased something, or they didn't like an exercise that I'd done. They thought it was unbalanced, perhaps. Whatever it is, come to me and express your concerns, and I promise you I will listen. I don't necessarily agree always, but I will always listen to you and consider your stance with the utmost care. And what I absolutely don't want is for any student in this class to feel uncomfortable. So please feel free to come to me and address any issues that you have. Okay, other university policies. We have the Americans with Disabilities Act. And the idea here is that if you have anything that we need accommodations for, please go through the Center for Disability and Access. They'll work with you and me to make arrangements for accommodations. I really like this because then it takes the guesswork out of it for me. If you have a CDA, then I don't have to think about it. I don't have to say, oh, I don't know if that qualifies or not. CDA tells me, okay, this person gets extended time on their exams. Great, I'll give it to you. So please, if you have any reason that you need an accommodation, go through the CDA and we'll get it done. Title IX makes it clear the violence and harassment based on sex and gender, which includes sexual orientation and gender identity and expression, is a civil rights offense subject to the same kinds of accountability and the same kinds of support applied to offenses against other protected categories such as race, national origin, color, religion, age, status as a person with a disability, veteran status, or genetic information. If you or someone you know has been harassed or assaulted, you are encouraged to report it to the Title IX coordinator. Again, none of that is acceptable. I do not want that to happen in my class, and if it does, I absolutely want it reported as soon as possible so that it doesn't continue and so that it doesn't happen to other people. The last one, the world we live in, unfortunately, we have to address this. The University of Utah values the safety of all campus community members. To report suspicious activity or to request a courtesy escort, call campus police. You'll receive important emergency alerts and safety messages regarding campus safety via text message. The last one, I think we're all aware that there is an epidemic of mental health issues right now, especially among young people. So I, along with the entire university, am committed to your mental health. We are living in stressful times. Anytime you feel overwhelmed, please reach out to me and take advantage of the resources that the university provides to students. I'm always happy to be an ear for you. So if you have any concerns or anything like that, please come to me and I will listen. I do want to keep in mind I'm not a trained therapist, and sometimes there's really not much more I can do than listen to you and try to find ways that we can help you to be successful in this class. And for other issues, I'll probably refer you to experts. But please come to me if you have any concerns like that or you need any extra help in the class, I want to be there for you, and I know the TAs do as well. So please feel free to come to us, and we will help you be successful in this class. Last thing I want to mention to you is that sometimes CIS, the way that we access Canvas through the university system, they do routine maintenance on it. Sometimes the university's web system just goes down. You can still access Canvas even in those situations by going through utah.instructure.com. This is really a great thing to know. So if there's ever any issues with CIS, you can always go through utah.instructure.com. If you have any problems, with IT-related problems, Canvas-related problems, you can go to the kind folks at Tilt at classhelp@utah.edu, and there's also a phone number. I do want you to be aware, for example, if your phone goes down and you can no longer access Canvas because your Duo is connected to your phone, call Tilt as soon as possible to get it resolved. They'll take care of you. They'll give you a temporary code to be able to access the Canvas even in those situations. Don't wait. Just get in touch with them. They're open all the time. Okay, we're going to have a great semester, and I look forward to working with all of you.